Welcome to Southwest Yard and Garden. I'm John White. Today we're going to be talking about a checklist of things that you can be doing for the month of September. Right now we're under some rainfall, so you can kind of hear a little bit of pitter-patter on the roof here from the rain, and so we may hear some louder noises in the background, but we want to talk about some of the things we can be doing in September. One is to put a pre-emergent down on your lawns. A lot of our cool season weeds will be coming up in September and October, and you want to have that pre-emergent down prior to the emergence of the weeds, so it'll work a lot better in keeping some of those annual grasses and some of the broadleaf weeds that come up during the winter, and usually we see them more in the spring, but this is how we take care of them, so we want to take care of those. The other thing is fertilizers, and with our lawns, both our cool season and warm season lawns, they both need fertilizer. This will be the last fertilization for the warm season grasses, St. Augustine, Bermuda, buffalo grass, those. The fescues, they're just coming into their growth cycle now, so they're going to like fertilizer for the next couple months to keep them looking good. So we want to use an all-purpose fertilizer that is complete in all the different nutrients. So this is a 16-8-8, so it has 16% nitrogen, 8% phosphorus, and 8% potash plus some micronutrients. So this is a good all-purpose fertilizer. We want it a little bit lower in nitrogen as we go into fall, but we do want a complete fertilizer, so this is a good product to use. Also, with the cooling down in September, you're probably going to see more insect pests as far as our household nuisance pests trying to go inside. And so some of our products here are used for our pests that might be trying to get into the house. The best way to control those is to put a chemical barrier of some type to keep those insects from going into the house. If you are going to use any kind of sprays inside the house, you want to make sure that they do say something about indoor use on it. So there are products that out there will control roaches and stuff outside, but you can't use them inside. So make sure the label does say something about indoor use. So we want to make sure that these products are labeled for indoor use, and that way we keep the insects. If we can put that barrier on the outside of the home, we can keep the insects out, and then if they do happen to get inside, there are some products that you can use, so be sure and read the directions on these products. The other things that we can be looking at are bulbs for fall planting that'll give us spring bloom. We don't want to plant them too early, but we do want to start looking at some of the bulb selections that are out there and picking some of the healthy bulbs, the good varieties that are out there, so that we aren't having to take just whatever's left at the end of the year. So get those picked. It has been shown that fertilizer does help with bulb growth and development, so if you have not been using some fertilizer on your bulbs, fertilizer does help to keep them much healthier and a lot stronger, so we want to do that. Roses, we're coming into the real good growth cycle on roses. Right now they look kind of beaten from the summer, and they're going to be starting to put on good growth and a lot more bloom, so they do need to be fertilized. So a good rose food product will help to keep that good growth on them. We're looking for this nice healthy growth, and some of the older stuff you can do a little bit of cleaning, taking some of the damaged leaves and some of the spent blooms off so that you have nice good healthy growth, and then the fertilizer will help with that. Seeds, there's a lot of the different cool season vegetables that we can still get planted. You want to look at the back of the pack, and it talks about how many days from seed to harvest. This one's 45 days. This is spinach, so if you plant it right now in 45 days, you're going to be harvesting that. So you want to be sure and read those seed packs and make sure that most of these have some cold tolerance, so they will take light frost, and you'll have a good vegetable growth on it. Also, if you haven't ever used this material, this is called Harvest Guard. This is a particular brand, but there's others out on the market. Frost Blanket, Remay is another one. These are good for covering your little seedlings and giving them some added protection. So if you haven't used that product, you do want to use it, and it'll give you some added protection over the year. And one of the last things is wildflowers. A lot of our wildflowers can be planted at this time of year. You know, follow the directions on the pack as far as depth, but this is the time of year to get those planted, and this rainfall, this monsoon season that we get this time of year will help those plants to germinate, and you'll have the little bitty plants in the ground, and then they'll bloom next spring. So wildflower plantings, this is a good time to do that. So we've talked about a lot of different stuff here for the month, but this is an active month because of the cool weather. So hopefully those tips have helped you to have a more productive and abundant garden.